need to figure out what our place is and then try to think in our hearts, what can we do from where we are, because we all have to resist at this moment. And it's beautiful to see all the ways it can happen.
Absolutely.
You know, also
yes.
on Saturday, we went to the Kaminsky baseball park, the White Sox park, to see the Pope's message.
Oh, yes.
And I thought that was very charming that the Pope from Chicago had had his mass on the same day at the same time as the president's parade. So there are a lot of people weighing in all they can at a sold-out stadium. But we saw a sitting United States senator get thrown to the ground and identified himself in the Monica McIver that's got criminal charges being charged against her by the Department of Justice, a sitting member of Congress and a mayor of being arrested in Minnesota, and officers and a man impersonating himself as an officer with a kill sheet asking and killed two people, their Speaker of the House and two other people. He shot 8 and 9 times each. This man that had a manifesto, and other people have received death threats. I went to see my father on Father's Day morning, and I was going back to see him on the evening, and I had police cars out in front of my house. There are death threats that are coming on public officials and judges across the country. This is getting to be a very frightening and scary time. We've got to tone down the rhetoric. And every time the president says, those radical left-wing, they're stopping my agenda, he's putting more fuel on the fire. He's trying to get people hurt. And today, after I get off your call, we've got to have an emergency meeting with Leader Jeffries on security for elected officials.
My Lord.
The ICE agent called the police on a member of oversight, Congressman Roger Krishnamurthy, and called the police on me on trespassing. And the police just had to shake their hands, not knowing what to do. Finally, we said, we'll leave, officer, but this is just wrong. So we've got a Department of Homeland Security that wants to arrest and call the police on elected officials that have a right to investigate government actions. That's our job.
Exactly. Precisely. And those facilities should, by law, be open to you to inspect. And they're just, once again, violating the law. And the judiciary.
And I wish you were here today. I wish you were here today because I would have been willing to go to jail. Only if you and Daryl were on the other side to pick me out. I wouldn't go to jail waiting on anybody else. But
you got it.
Like if you were here, and then the gentleman says, he says he was an officer. I saw no identification. He says that we're trespassing. I said, sir, there's nothing in this room that says trespassing and that it's not a public facility. You have to have an appointment. And then you can't use a cell phone, they said in the room, but all the documentations are one-page things that were copied that have a barcode that you can supposed to scan. How are you supposed to know your rights? A sheet of paper that's with a barcode where they say you can't use your phone in this room.
And Jonathan, Congressman, Jackson, just think about
I'm Jonathan.
I just so to call you Jonathan. I'm so sorry.
I'm Jonathan. That's the most you kicking in. I'm your Jonathan. You're funny. Don't be confused. There's Congressman Jackson to others, and there's Jonathan to you. Okay.
Because that, it just, we've seen so much.
You're not going to take. You're not going to give me a new name after 50 years, Barbara. So you just go.
All right now, Betty. You heard that, didn't you, Betty? So we know.
I heard every word.
So Betty, you know how I got to behave in the future, right? So anyway, so Congressman Jackson, I was just so taken by how the president, everybody was making a big deal last week when all of a sudden he said, I'm going to tell ICE to take it easy on the foreign workers. I'm going to tell ICE to take it easy on the immigrants who are working at the hotels. I'm going to take them in the meat factory plants. And I'm going to have them. And then today, folks, not even a full 72 hours later, the news is that he's told ICE to double down on all of those people. All of those people. What is this cat and mouse game about, Congressman?
I think cruelty is the point.
Woo!
That it's mean-spirited. There are people here that are serving and working honorably who have children that have since been born here, that are in our United States military. That want to further show their love for this country and their gratitude. There are people that are paying their taxes. And now what they've done through this DOGE department and their collection of all this data of Medicaid records, Social Security, immigration, IRS, now they're able to pinpoint exactly where people are. So these are very surgical raids. And what happened here today in Chicago was massive text messages were blasted out telling people to come to these facilities where they've done it in the past, picked up people that came in for routine check-ins. So it's a growing sense of danger and panic. Here in the 1st District, I can show you medical facilities where there's where the medicine cabinets are filled in the pharmacies where migrants and immigrant people have not picked up their medicine because they've gone into hiding in fear. I can introduce you to ministers in churches where families are no longer going. I can take you by schools where people are no longer going to school. And with that, everything bad happens. Abuse happens. Desperation happens. It's tearing the fabric of our society apart.
One person who this country misses, who you knew dearly, was John Lewis, Congressman John Lewis. You knew him probably all your life.
That's okay.
And yes, and and we're on July 17th. July 17th, everybody, mark those calendars right this minute. July 17th is the next huge national mobilization and Transformative Justice Coalition, Rainbow Push Coalition. We're all at the front of this, organizing, making sure that we are going to, on that day, center racial justice. On that day, center voting rights and say no voter suppression. On that day, we're going to center democracy, our fight for a just, inclusive, multiracial democracy. And when you hear that, Congressman Jackson, having known and seen Congressman Lewis all those years, what do you want to say to people about turning out on July 17th?
And I would also put words in, echo the words of my father. It's time to organize for a rainbow coalition. Let's not forget, this started, and we saw who this president was when it started with 5 young teenage black boys in New York City. And people were indifferent to the pain of those children that got kidnapped, that were innocent, that were thrown away, just like they were put in the hull of a slave ship. And even although they were innocent and served countless amounts of years, and New York City paid and apologized, and the president said they were still guilty. He defamed them. Now he's gone on to attack the universities. He's gone on to attack the law firms, gone on to attack the medical professionals. Unless we all come together, we're going to have a big problem. But together we can win. So in your spirit, Barbara and Daryl, you've got to keep on out there. And it's not your fight alone. I want people to listening. Now is your opportunity to join. You might not have ever been in a fight before, but I'm telling you, you're not going to escape this one. So you might as well fight on your feet and not stay on your knees, because they're all about expanding the wealth at the top and pushing more poverty down on the bottom. So unless you're uber wealthy, you need to join this fight. And what I mean by uber wealthy, if you don't have something to give to your children's children's grandchildren's children, then you're not uber wealthy.
And these people are so eugenics minded that they hate the poor. There's so much to talk about. We're so grateful to you for being here today, Congressman. I hope that, people will take, your word to heart. And can you give us a parting word? And then Daryl's going to take us home. Thanks to all our guests. Thanks to everybody who's listened. Congressman, in 1 minute, give the world your final word for today, because we here, we're going to be with you, sir.
I love your work, Ms. Barbara. On that one word, you said the word eugenics. I serve on the Foreign Affairs Committee, and I was sharing with a colleague, a congressman, that the Democratic Republic of the Congo will be the 5th largest country in the next 20, 25 years. And he says, well, because there's more poverty, there's more babies, and there's more population. He says, we may need to have to throttle that down so they won't be the 5th largest. And I don't want to call his name, but it put a chill over me. But there are people that think there are too many poor people on earth. And that's why we have to fight. And they think there are too many, and they think there are too many lives that aren't worth saved or living. They don't see the full potential that we can create for every human being.
Yes, the Curtis Yarvins of the world who are pushing this new eugenics theory where they hate the poor. They think anybody poor, they don't care what their race is. It's evidence of genetic inferiority. They purposely attack USAID because they want people to die in Africa. We get it. We get it. Thank you, Congressman. Thank you, Daryl.
Certainly want to thank Congressman Jonathan Jackson for.
Thank you, Daryl.
Love you back, Jonathan. Thank Congressman Jackson for being with us today. Also going to thank all of our guests that were with us today: Denise Poloyac, Betty Magness, as well as Edward Ward. Folks, we tell you, and we tell you again. You got to get off the sidewalks and get into the streets to protect your rights. That's what this is all about. We invite you to go to goodtroubleliveson.org, goodtroubleliveson.org. July 17th is coming, and we're going to be out there for the National Day of Action in the name of John Lewis, pushing forward so that everyone's right is protected in this country and make this truly a multicultural, multiracial, and inclusive society. That's what it's about, folks. That's what it's about. Until next Tuesday, noon, Eastern Standard Time, get off those sidewalks, get in the streets, make our way to the ballot boxes. Let's be certain that our voices are heard here in America. Peace, everybody.
Peace.
The preceding program was paid for by Barbara Arnwine.
In this one small world we share together,
there are lots of good things we can still share.
We can share hope.
We can share laughter. We can share encouragement.
We can share inspiration.
We can share unity.
We can share healing.
We can share joy.
We can share love.
We can share truth.
So during these times, we can't forget.
We can beat this together.
Because together,
we are one.
News Talk 1450 and 95.9 WOL with the Carl Nelson Show. Weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. Reverend Al Sharpton keeping it real from 1 to 4 p.m. And the Tavis Smiley Show from 4 to 7 p.m. Download our mobile app and take us everywhere you are or listen live at